Hello, everyone, and welcome to Conversations with Tona Brown. I am here with the fabulous designer that I have known for quite some time now, Robert E. Knight. Welcome to the show.
Hey, how you doing, Miss Tona Brown?
I am wonderful. I've been wanting to get you on my show for like 3 years now, so I'm so glad that you were able to take some time out of your busy schedule and join me. I've been wearing Robert E. Knight ever since 2014 when I did my Carnegie Hall debut and we met. And so I really want people to know more about you, how we met, and how we can support you and your work. So first, tell us a little bit about yourself and your career and all the fantastic stuff you've been doing in fashion.
Well, first of all, I've been sewing since I was 7, 8 by the sewing machine. 10 I was on the sewing machine. Um, and I started just making doll clothes, my sister's dolls clothes and everything. But I used to watch my mom sew. She used to make my siblings and I our uniforms to go to private school. And I couldn't play the sports growing up, and I was always skinny and frail and fragile. So I was always upstairs causing trouble, and I would start messing with the sewing machine, take it apart, put it back together. And the thing I always like to say is that my dad, he beat my ass, but he showed me how to put it back together. And
Mm,
I've been sewing ever since. And then I went
wow.
to FIT for menswear, and then I left after I graduated in '92. I started doing straight size, and then in '94, '95, I started really doing full figure across the board,
Mhm.
and full figure women is my specialty now.
Yes, and you've been winning so many awards over the years for figure fashion, and you're up for another one now, correct?
Yes, in October, I'm up for Designer of the Year for Full Figure Industry Awards, Tawana Game. And this organization is the organization that allowed me to be the first male designer on their cover of their magazine. So, yeah, that was
Yeah, that's
2017, but I'm still
incredible.
rocking it.
That's right. And as anyone who is able to see me on video, you'll see that I'm wearing one of the illustrious designs that I bought years ago. And I will say that one of my first interviews that I did with Swerve Magazine was in this very top. I just love it so much. It looks so good on camera. It's great performing and to wear for various events. And so, if
Hmm.
anyone see my red ruffles, this is REK. Also, if anyone
Yes,
follows me online, you will see gown and dress and after gown and after top.
right,
First,
right.
the he has done so many different styles and designs for me, and so I just had to make sure that for our new podcast that you were involved, just simply because
Yes.
you have been a godsend to me, and that reminds me to bring up how we met. So we met when I was doing my Carnegie Hall debut with a couple of people that you knew, like Lee Soldier and some other folk. And
Uh-huh.
Lee told me, "Hey, I know this fantastic designer I want you to meet, and maybe you'll like something that he has for your Carnegie Hall show." And that's how we met. So tell us from your point of view, what was that like?
Well, first of all, I've known Lee for as long as I've been gay, as long as I've been out, and about. And he's always been like that friend for me. Anytime I needed something, he come see one of my fashion shows for me for free. Didn't ask for anything. Um, and he would always ask me for favors or ask me if I have this for this person, that person. So I didn't know who you were. For me, it was just you was a regular person, like somebody needed a dress,
Right.
and he said it was last minute, and you were trying to find dresses from a designer, so nothing was coming through, and he really needed my help. I felt good because I felt comfortable enough at the last minute to go to me when I was going to come through. So, and then I just remember putting 3 dresses in the bag and just went to Penn Station, and we on the side of the street trying on dresses, and it was chaotic, but it just flowed. And then for you to wear the gowns, Carnegie Hall, it was everything. So yeah, I don't get excited until I need to get excited. Once I saw the pictures, then I said, now I can get excited. So yeah,
Right, right.
and
Well, I tell
we were
you,
on and popping from then.
well, I have to tell you, I have to correct you. It was more than three. You actually thought with foresight that I might need some things for interviews. And so it was eight
Okay,
garments.
okay. See,
It was
see, I
so
was
I
just throwing stuff
want
in
to
the
correct.
bag.
Yeah, exactly. I just want to correct you because you said
Okay,
here is a number of things if you like any of it, and I signed an agreement and all that kind of stuff. And he was like, if you like any of these, just let me know. And but it
mhm,
was like so much. And I think that was what made me realize that this was someone that I wanted to work with because you gave me so many different options.
right,
Out of nowhere. We didn't know each other or anything like that.
right.
And
No
that
fitting.
always,
I mean, no, I didn't take your measurements. Nothing.
and so it was so
Right.
wonderful to come across someone who was like, hey, look, I understand that this is important. You're taking a community event to Carnegie Hall. And so I want to do what I can do to help. And so I want to say thank you on air for everyone to know that I really, really appreciate it. And that's why I started making sure I let everyone know who I was wearing from that day forward. And if it
Mhm.
was a red carpet event, if it was a church performance, if it was going to a college university, I would call
Right.
you. You would send me things to the hotel sometime.
Yep.
You go above and beyond with your customer service. So I definitely want to recommend everyone who wants something that's unique and special in your closet for an event or even just to feel pretty.
Right.
You do that for us, and I really, really appreciate it. You're also mentioned in my memoir, and so for the first time, you
Yep.
got to see that I dedicated so much of in the pictures and everything to you. The cover of my memoir actually has your dress in it, and I have to tell you that dress. Wherever I go, people ask me to wear that dress.
It's like a glove.
Yeah, everyone loves that dress, but that's how
Mhm.
your work hits people. And I think that we need to highlight artists like yourself for the wonderful things you've done, especially for the Black LGBTQ community, because you've been in this game for a long time. How long have you been designing?
Well, fashion wise, and my coming out into the community was like day one. So that's like 98. Could be
Mm,
earlier than that. Earlier than 90. No, not earlier than 98. It's been so long. For me,
wow.
it goes hand in hand because I know I graduated from FIT in 92. So I know, so it had to be before 92.
Wow. I don't think most people know your backstory of coming out or any of that. I haven't seen anything. Like, tell us a little bit about your upbringing and your relationship with your mom and coming out and being accepted or not. Tell us about it.
Well, I grew up in Brownsville, Brooklyn. It's a project, a set of projects in Brooklyn. One of the the worst projects, not the worst projects. 'Cause my childhood was everything. Like all the stuff that's happening now, shooting and killings, it was happening then. But we were just from a different era, so we were kind of shielded from it, and we lived it. So the generation X, X generation, grew
Mhm,
up with a brother and sister and a mother and a father. So it's
mhm,
five of us in the household. And my mom went to school and worked, and my dad worked, and they made sure that the three of us went to private school because they didn't want us to be. We lived in the hood, but they didn't want us to be a product of the hood. So they tried
right.
to make sure that we had the best education, the best upbringing. Make sure that we all went to college. At least you got your degrees, and then you could do what you want to do. I have a degree in advertising. Then I changed from advertising. I said I want to go for fashion. My dad sat me down. He said, "I don't care what you do, just make sure you make money from it." And you can't make money off yourself. And
Mm,
those two things I'll never forget. Hence why, like the clothes that I have, like this shirt is probably like 12, 13 years old. So I've I've learned to use the things that I have. I can't make money off myself if I keep making clothes for myself. How about make something for a customer? How about that way? So those are little tidbits that I've learned
mhm.
growing up. Man, my mom has always been my number one muse and number one fan. And she was at every fashion show, every situation, that I, did, and never once heard, nor my father never once said that a man doesn't do this. This is not what you should do. They always just encouraged me to do,
That's wonderful.
yeah, they never denounced. And I think with the gay thing, I told my mom years ago. I think it was '98 when I told my mom, and she got quiet, but we never really discussed it. And I had
Mhm.
to respect that because mothers always know. I think she just wanted me to confirm to her that I knew. So she,
Absolutely.
so she was good. She never
Yeah.
disrespected me. Never her nor my father never disrespected me. Never said anything negative. Nothing in reference to the gay thing. And that I love and appreciate them both for. Always lift me up. So yeah.
Yeah, that's so important, especially for those of us who are trying to go into a career.
Hmm.
And you need that support from your family. And
Hmm.
I'm so glad that you got that because a lot of us, unfortunately, do not get it. But my story is very similar with my family. They were very,
Hmm.
very open and, very honest with me about things that they didn't understand, but the love
Okay.
first. And they
Right.
also wanted me to have a good self esteem about myself. And just like your family, if you're going to be a part of this family, then there's a way you're going to conduct yourself and that kind of thing,
That's
no
what
matter
we're doing.
who you
Right.
love. That was just
Right.
the rule.
Right.
Well, how were they with your like first like boyfriends and stuff like that?
I've never, nah, I've never been that one to do all that introduction and stuff. But um, I remember one time, my mom, we lived in Left City. My mom was on the terrace. They have terrace in this is not a project, it's a complex that we moved to after Brownsville. And I had a friend over, and I didn't notice until he left that she was standing in the terrace peeking through the window as me and him was kissing. It was the funniest shit. And I like, and then she came up and she just looked at me and kept walking. It was like, it's like, yo, it was the funniest shit. But I was like, those are the days where I was terrified. Like, I come from that era that been living in the hood and not knowing who you are, and everyone telling you who you are, and you don't know who you are, and you start to believe what they said, and then what they were saying was bad, and fag
That's
this and this with vengeance and just the anger. And then I was not only getting it from outside, I was getting it from my family as well, like my siblings and cousins and stuff. And so I'm thinking that that's the norm. I had no
yeah,
one to protect me to say, no, Bobby, you're okay. You're okay. You're okay. I had to
yeah.
forgive everyone because apparently they didn't have the tools to do that because nobody taught them how to be. So it's been a journey. It's
Oh
been a
yeah.
journey.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. If
It's
if
been a
you could
journey.
change the journey in any way, would you?
No, because it made me everything that has happened, good, bad, and different, ugly, has made me the man I am today. And I'm thankful and grateful and open for all the experiences to come.
Yeah, yeah, I feel exactly the same way. And it just reminds me of a conversation that we had with someone for this new podcast. And he
Hmm.
was talking about how things were in the 70s and 80s.
Hmm.
Um and having just sexuality be like criminalized and all these things. And
Hmm.
now we have this new crazy political climate where they're rolling back rights and stuff like
Hmm.
that. I felt the need to have to get people on the show that would be willing to talk about those type of things just
Right.
because we don't know what the future holds and
Exactly.
we're
Right.
looking at someone who wants to roll things back to the way it was. And so I'm so glad that you mentioned, some of the challenges that you
Hmm.
had with that during that time period.
Yeah. And again, I'm grateful for them all. Of course, at points you become discouraged, upset, whatever. But that's you're human. But at the end of the day, it's like I'm at the point in my life. It's not about the situation. It's what did I learn from the situation to make me better? Because everything now is a test. It's like the universe,
Right.
God tests you every second. Like He tested us today, trying to pull us
Yeah.
together. And
Yeah.
even while you saying, Rob, calm down. And I had to really, because I was feeling frustrated because I'm on a time frame. You know what I'm saying? So, and I'm like, okay, you can't be frustrated. Things happen, and so it was good that the production staff, everybody was, you know cool, understanding, and it allowed me to calm down And then you said like you're gonna have to we gonna have to get used to this. I'm like, oh shit, yeah,
Yeah. Well, and it's very much the future for you because you're just so incredibly talented. And so I know a lot of us who have talents oftentimes don't want to be in front of the camera. We can
I
kind of
mean,
post without being in the forefront, but for
right,
you, your talent has gone to such a level that you're being acknowledged internationally for your art and your clothes. I mean, we wear your art. I mean, you can't get any more influential than that.
than that,
And
right,
you know what I mean? And I think that that is why I want to let people know about your work, let people know about who you are because they just see me like going crazy wearing your clothes.
right,
But I do want people to know that you are a person. You're a living,
right.
breathing person. And so I do appreciate it, which leads me to think, how did you get to think about making this into a business?
Of course, I'm more connected to the creative side, and I'm still even at this point learning more and more about the business side. Like I do everything, so I am the business, and I have to
Mhm.
be aware of all aspects of it. So I don't even look at it as business, which I guess now more and more I am, or I do, but not outright. Because once it becomes a business, it becomes work to me, and then I don't want to work. I don't want to do
Mm,
work. I want to have fun. I want to create. I want to be
right.
able to do something, but still in mind making something that someone will be wearing, not just like when I was in my 20s, making stuff and I could put it over there in the corner just to test drive. No, everything I make it has to be worn. It has to be sold. It has to be adorned. It has to be seen. I can't. So yeah. So my mind frame, I know is business, the business part, but um, when someone said I want to purchase something, okay, then the business started.
Well, how did they see your stuff? Was it from a fashion show or?
Back in the day, we used to do I used to do a lot of like I want to say Chitlin Circuit fashion shows or church fashion, basement fashion shows, but you got to do what you got to do. And
Yeah.
uh, I used to work for HRA here, Human Resource Administration. So we used to have HRA Day, and I was, of course, the one in charge of the fashion show. And every year, folks would look forward. This is a city job. Used to work for the city as well, but I would always, my fashion was always there. Either how I looked, or if I, making bags for my coworkers, or we doing
Wow.
special events. And so, on all sides. So I would try to do as many places. Do Harlem Week fashion show. Did fashion show
Mm,
at the Apollo Theater.
mm,
Um, yeah. So people knew, especially in the community, who I was. It's like you want to go higher and you want to get that celebrity. So I've had from way back in the day, like a Tretch from Naughty by Nature. I did him. I did Wendy Williams. I've done Off the Wash. I have some credits, but for me, it's not about that. It's just about, ooh, okay, so I can do this now. So,
mm-hmm.
oh, I can do that. Oh, okay.
Well, one of the things that I always wondered about with, every time I saw your fashion and everything, it's just like, how does a creative have all of this stuff in their mind? Do you think about it from a body perspective or just the garment itself?
I think about both, and especially with full figure, because full figure women are a plethora of shapes and sizes. So, if I'm doing something for a client, I'm definitely looking into like what do they like, do they not like. Some full figure women don't like their arms. Some full figure women don't like their stomach. Some full figure women really doesn't like their breasts, their
Mhm.
hips, and so I have to accommodate all of that to still make them feel comfortable and look not like I put a rag, put a sheet over them. So
Right.
I take all that into consideration. Even with straight size women, I take it into consideration. I take it in how are you going to walk in it? Like if it's a reception, if it's a wedding, if you're going on stage, like I asked with you, are you wearing your hair this way? You playing the piano? You playing the violin? Which are you sitting? What are you doing? So I know which direction to go to. So
A
yeah.
gown that just hit me that you made was when I sang for the suffragette movement in New York, and they asked me to for a performance, and we all got together. Natalie Birdsong was doing my hair and everything, and it was
Hmm.
a memory garment where every time I turned and moved,
Mhm.
the light would hit that thing.
Right. That's the dress in the
Baby.
book. As you're walking to the venue. That's the dress in the book.
Uh-huh. That's the dress in the book. I
Yep,
mean,
that's the dress in the book.
I
Hmm.
had to put it in the book because I literally heard the audience go,
Mm. Right.
so
Once it hit the light.
so important, and I think that we take fashion for granted because there's different department stores people can go into and all that, but really
Hmm.
high end fashion and just having someone that just knows what you do and working closely. I want every person, feminine embodied or masculine embodied
It
person,
doesn't
to
matter.
it does not matter, to have that experience. And
Right.
also, a lot of people don't realize that you started in menswear and that you make
Yeah.
clothes for yourself, and
Mhm.
so that is something that's amazing.
Now the story behind that is that before I went to FIT, um, I have a degree in advertising, and I wanted to change over. And I was trying to go away to school, couldn't get a college to go not far enough. My mom wouldn't let me go too far, but she said you can go to if you go to FIT, because it's still fashion. And so I went to the women's department. There was so many people that I felt anxious. The anxiety hit, and then I got the call that I was eligible to do the menswear department, which was a capsule. It was like 20. It was two classes with like maybe 20 people in the class, which meant that I would get the tutelage that I needed from the professor, and I wouldn't be overlooked. And it was the
Mm,
best experience I could have ever had in my life. And but I noticed in that, like in menswear, you just can't have a jacket. Like for women, you just need a dress. Menswear, you have to have a shirt, you gotta have pants, you gotta have a top. There's more to it than it has to be fit. It has to
mm.
fit. My thing is, I gotta get it out. I ain't got no time to sit here and then my time is money, and ain't nobody trying to buy no $500 suit. Nobody, no, 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 no. It's not the average person. And so I just said, you know what? Let me just focus on women's wear, and yeah,
I just want to thank you so much for always allowing me to like call you at the last minute when I had things going on. And I think that so many people need to know where they can find you. So can you let people know how we can support you? Give us a call to action, how we can support you and where we can find stuff.
well, I'm on all platforms. The one that you can really find me on that has the connection, the link to my website is on Instagram. It's Robert E. Knight, REK on Instagram. If you go to my Instagram and follow me on Instagram, you can click on the link there to go to my website. That'll be
Excellent.
perfect. Yeah.
Yes, we'll definitely do that, and we'll make sure that people know how to get in contact with you. So, how do you prefer to work with our different people? Do you prefer being in person, designing for them in person, or what is your style?
It depends. Since COVID, I had to rework everything because I was the one that would go to the customer or have the customer come to me, whatever. But I realized I everyone has things to do. We all are busy, and so if you can give me your perfect measurements, and I need three measurements: your chest, your hip, your waist, and your hip, and a picture of you, I can take it from there. I like
Hmm.
to collaborate. Like you say, I'm going to a function. Like my last client I had, she's for her 50th birthday party. And she said, Robert, I need a white dress and it need to be white and silver and just do what you do. Which I love when my clients give me carte blanche to do what I do. And I sent her
Exactly.
the drawing, which I don't even sketch, but I sent her the sketch and she said, okay, how do I pay? What
Right.
are we doing?
Yeah, and I love that too. I think that's one of the reasons why I want to recommend people to work for and
Hmm.
with you, simply
Hmm.
because that has always been so helpful to be able to say, I
Hmm.
might have an idea, but my job in working with a professional is
Right.
that you know what you're doing. So
Let me
I
push
know
it.
I can trust you.
Right.
If you
Right.
said, Tona, I want you to wear orange, I'm like,
Right.
what?
Okay. And actually, you did. Actually, you did for the I'm about to say that for the magazine cover, the
Sure
Sword
did.
magazine cover. You were orange.
Yep, I wore
You were orange
orange and I
and
was
then
like
blue.
so
Yep.
nervous.
Yep.
I was so
I,
nervous until it was on. When
yep.
you know, but that's what we need as artists. We need people that are
Mhm.
going to push the envelope and show
Right.
us that we carry something that we didn't think that we could carry.
Right. Like, let's see it. My thing is like, oh, anybody can pull this off, and then it's like, no, but I don't see myself. But try it and see. Just try it.
You make us feel so comfortable about all those body issues that you mentioned, and you know how to make us feel and look beautiful. So I just want to thank you so much. Do you have any, the last thing I would say, do you have any advice that you would give someone who is like you? They have this passion for fashion or the arts or anything. What advice would you give them?
First, I would say, be you, or at least try to figure out who you are. Your foundation needs to be solidified. It needs to be, you got to have something to walk on, because this lifestyle, this life, this fashion thing is not what everybody thinks it is. It's not peachy. It's not all fun and games. It's about business. It's about checking yourself, humbling yourself. It's not about trying to make a name for yourself. It's just try to make a name for you
Mm,
to be the best person
that's
you could
deep.
possibly be. And if you can't be the best person, how could you produce something from your loins? Anything you produce is not going to be real. It's not going to be authentic. So if you know
Mhm.
who you are, you're authentic with yourself. Everything you touch, who you speak to, they're gonna see the real you. And that's all. I just want people to see the real me. Like, I ain't got to front no more. I ain't got to put on no mask, no air. I have no point to prove to no one on this earth. The last people was my parents. They're not here no
Right.
more. I don't owe nobody nothing but myself. And I'm gonna make sure. I'm gonna make sure. Oh, and one last thing. I need a memoir to do my own memoir. Yeah.
That's right.
Talking to you and looking through your book and pictures, and I didn't know you prior. Just to say, like, wow, to put it out there. Shit, I could put it out there. You put it out there. Someone else can understand it. So I appreciate it, and I love you for that. Yeah.
Thank you. I really did. I mean, I've never been so honest in my
Hmm.
entire life. I mean, you
You
get
put it
the
out there.
real tea, about who I am, where I came from.
Hmm.
And I definitely want to say if you have that feeling that it's something that you want to do, please do it. I've never felt lighter in my life. I remember the minute we were done
Hmm.
with everything was so cathartic that I could feel myself walking with less weight,
Wow.
literally. So
Wow.
please do it. I recommend everyone, please write your books.
Yeah.
We need our stories out there, especially
Yeah.
Black queer stories of
Yeah.
any type. There's not enough. And then you see that we have a whole political party that wants to sit there and ban books. I
Yeah.
can't wait to read your memoir. So let's put that out there. I think
Oh,
that you should
yeah.
totally.
My thing is that even like personal stuff, family stuff, things that, especially the black community, that we are so used to sweeping under the rug. Like, nobody wants to discuss certain things. Like, of course, the gay thing, taboo, but nobody wants to discuss the domestic violence. Nobody wants to discuss, the siblings beating up the other siblings. Nobody wants to discuss none of that. And you're like, don't, we're not going to talk about that. Oh, somebody needs to talk about that. And then if you're so hurt, I was talking about you. That's it.
That's right.
That's it.
That's right.
That's it.
You said
So,
it's so true, and that's when I realized I said, if I'm going to do this, which is why I put it off, and it took
mhm.
4.5 5 years to do.
Wow.
If I'm going to do it the right way. I'm going to take
Mhm.
my time. I'm going to find the stories that I think that will help other
Mhm.
people, but I'm going to keep it totally 100. So my agreement, because I knew I couldn't do it just by myself, was to
Okay.
get with my Christopher King, who I trusted, who was a journalist, and
Okay.
his instructions that I gave him, if you ask me, I'm going to tell you the straight up truth.
Right.
If
Right.
you
No
ask,
chaser.
no one ain't gonna know. But if you
That's right.
ask, tell you the truth. And so we played a lot of games where he would just say something like, just repeat your name. And then we do like almost like the Dirty Dozen sort of thing where he's just constantly just saying small things and then bam, he hit me with something that, and I'd be like, oh,
Right.
okay. I'm so glad to have you on the show finally, and
Okay,
to
right.
encourage people to wear your clothes and to support you. Share your things, certain things that are free, y'all. All you got to do, if you see a beautiful garment, share it on
Right,
Instagram.
right. Hey, pass it on. I mean,
Yeah,
I appreciate all the love. I appreciate everything. Of course, the book is like was the best birthday gift. So yeah, and just to see for me, just to see my gown on the cover of someone's book,
yeah,
just to see my gown, and then I know this person. I
yeah.
know this person. What do you
And
mean?
well, and the other backstory to that picture is that when I first saw it, I cried for like 10 minutes. That
Wow.
to have the confidence in that pose, in that picture, to
Mm,
be wearing friends' garments, to
it
have
was
the
just
violin of
oh,
a grandmother, to have the bow of an ex, to
right.
all of it was me, and being so open and honest about everything that I've gone through in my life, good and bad.
Right.
Um, I just broke down crying. I knew
Mm,
that was the photo. So, and for many of you, you hear me talking about my memoir, Tenacity, the Tona Brown story. So, if you really want to learn more about my life in all aspects, please go on Amazon or Barnes and Nobles and you can find Tenacity, the Tona Brown story. Yay, you got a book! Ah! And I gave you a nice dedication on the
yes.
inside.
Yeah. It
Yeah,
says, "Rob, thank you for being you. This cover would not be the same without your gown. Love you, Tona Brown. Cherish."
yeah. I mean, and then on the inside, we did another photo shoot, and it's all Robbie Knight, all of your,
It's
all different.
crazy.
Woo!
Messed me up. That's my favorite. You can't see it. If you get the book, you'll see. And there go my name,
Yeah,
Robbie Knight. It's Robbie Knight.
that's
I
that.
love it.
Everyone,
Go.
please go to Rob's Instagram. Thank you so much for coming on Conversations with Tona Brown and just being such an amazing friend and supporter of everything that I do and everyone else. Thank you.
Anytime, 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 anytime.